Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside today's video, we're going to be ranking all mythic and legendary brawlers in the game right now. So this in particular is going to help the newer players or just people that aren't fully maxed out in Brawl Stars. So if you've got a decision in Star Road on which brawler to pick, well, you can come back to this list and it will help you just choose. So you want to pick the best brawler in the game because it's easier trophies, and some of these brawlers are really good in ranked as well, and especially with hypercharges on top of that. So we're going to be starting off with mythic. Starting off as the worst mythic in the game, it's Doug. And number 31, I went with Clancy. So Clancy is good for the most players, I think. If you're just playing Brawl, then Clancy actually looks like a good brawler. So if you're just playing for fun, playing casually, then Clancy's good, especially with the hypercharge. But if you want a really good player when you get to the higher levels, Clancy is not that brawler. Number 30, we have Chuck. So Chuck is still a really good brawler in heist, but I think for especially newer players or casual players, Chuck is actually pretty confusing to learn and play. He's just not good in anywhere outside of heist. At 29, we have Fang. So for the casual play base, Fang is one of the most fun brawlers in the game. So if you want fun, then Fang might be your brawler. But if we're talking competitively or just even good in the meta, Fang has not been good for a long time. At 28, I went with Mr. P. So Mr. P used to be good in the meta with his hypercharge. He used to be one of the best brawlers. Now his hypercharge is terrible, and base stat Mr. P is also terrible as well. For the casuals, they think Mr. P is good, but he's just not good. At 27, I went with Ruffs. So especially for the majority of the play base, they think Ruffs is the worst brawler in the game, and he's not even being used at pro play as well. So Ruffs just isn't good anymore. 26, I went with Willow. So for some people, the Willow mains think that Willow's underrated, but she's just not good. Even with the hypercharge, she's not been used really at all. Her only use case is Brawl, and she's still just too hard to play. Number 25, I went with Miko. So we're glad to hear Miko has improved a lot in the meta, whether you're playing Showdown or specifically Heist. He's one of the best Heist brawlers just because you're able to get on Heist safe and deal a lot of damage really consistently now. 24, I went with Eve. So Eve has just fallen off across the board. She's just kind of forgotten. She's still an okay brawler. If you're looking for a water brawler, there's probably better options though, like Angela and Juju. At 23, I went with a Charlie. So another brawler that's just going under the radar. She's just okay into everything. Since she received her supercharge rate buff, I think she's actually a fairly decent brawler, so you can always play a Charlie. At 22, I went with Sprout. So Sprout's actually one of the hardest brawlers to push trophy-wise in the game, and he always has been because there's just so much Mortis on ladder. But if you play a lot of ranked and you play a lot of knockout and bounty, then Sprout is a very strong brawler there. At 21, I went with Otis. So Otis is going to be one of the most unfun brawlers in the game. I'm sorry, it's Otis mains, but it's just stats. Like, people just don't play Otis, but he's always been a consistent brawler. He's always been underappreciated maybe in gem grab and brawl. He's such a good counter to tank. 20, we have a Buzz. So another brawler that's really good in fun factor. He's one of the most played brawlers in the game, and he's also pretty good in the meta right now. He's above average, great at countering so many different brawlers. His hype charge is so fun as well, so I recommend getting Buzz. At 19, we went with Mortis. So Mortis is probably the most played brawler in Brawl Stars history. Most players will have Mortis unlocked or just try and unlock him. He is very fun, so just play him. But also, he's a decent brawler as well, but his hypercharge definitely carries. 18, we have Mo myself. He's just pretty good in the meta. Another brawler that's underappreciated. He's really versatile. You can play him in a lot of different situations. I think he's really underloved in this meta. He's actually pretty good. At 17, I went with Byron. So he's always going to be this super versatile brawler. I really think there hasn't really been much of a time where Byron hasn't been B tier or above in the meta. He's been pretty solid, good everywhere, and a good Byron will really make a difference. At 16, I went with Squeak. So in the previous meta, I would have put him right at the top of this list. He's fallen down a little bit. Maybe the reason why Squeak is so good in knockout and bounty because of the wind-up gadget that makes him so strong. At number 15, we have Tara. So to say, with this one of her better metas out of the past, I don't know, year or so. She's actually pretty strong right now with the hypercharge. But if you're just a more so casual player, then in Brawl and Gem Grab, you can never really go wrong with a Tara. She's pretty easy to play, and she'll always have a favorable matchup. Number 14, we have Finks. So Finks, weirdly, is a super strong brawler when you think of his super and his gadget potential. Most players do misunderstand Finks a little bit. He's pretty good at pro play wise because his super's just so strong. At 13, we have RT. So another brawler which is just so underappreciated. In terms of usage rate, he's near the bottom, but in terms of the pro meta, I'd say he's pretty much always been 80. He's so good at knockout and bounty. When you're looking for a specific counter to a lot of assassins, then Ulti is that person because of his gadget. It gives him a free super. He can just infinitely take down those assassins for free. Number 12, I went with Melody. So Melody has fallen down the meta just a little bit, but the hype charge is still very good. I will say Melody is a really tough brawler to play though. Even myself, I can't even play. I mean, I'm not the best, you know what I mean? Only the pros know how to play Melody properly, but I think she's so fun. Number 11, I went with Janet. So she's slightly fallen off in the meta. She's probably the best brawler brawler in gem grab because you can play her as a mid or a lane, but you do need her hypercharge for her to be good. Without the hypercharge, she's probably like D tier. Now moving into top 10 mythic brawlers, starting off at number 10 with Juju. So Juju's just a super versatile brawler. I think if you're looking for someone that can play in every single game mode, then Juju is your brawler. And number 9, I went with Jean. So Jean is always one of the best brawlers in knockout, bounty, and gem grab. And if you're looking at all the previous metas since Jean's release years and years ago, he's always been at the top of the meta, so you're safe in upgrading it. 8th best mythic brawler has to be Max. So for the pro players, they think Max is one of the best brawlers in the game. It does take a little bit more skill to appreciate a Max, but again, Max is always at the top of the meta, so you're safe in upgrading her as well. Next is 7th best mythic brawler, we have Gray. So Gray has just been such a strong brawler since the gadget rework. You're starting to see him in gem grab now, but he's one of the best brawlers in knockout and bounty because of the walking cane gadget. As long as you have that, Gray is so strong. Best mythic has to be Lily. Since her hypercharge release, she's really back into the meta, so for her to be good, you need both her vanish gadget, one of the best gadgets in the game, even with a really long cooldown, and you need the hypercharge. Without the hypercharge, Lily's still probably like a D tier brawler. So now moving into the best 5 mythics, starting off with Buster. Buster is busted since the hypercharge, so good in knockout, bounty, Brawl, gem grab. You can always go a Buster, and the good thing about Buster as well, he's always been meta. So at number 4, I went with Lou, and Lou has been at the top of the meta for a long time now. His hypercharge is a big reason, but just his main projectile is so easy to land now since the buff a couple of months ago. You're able to consistently cycle super, so good in gem grab, Brawl, hot zone in particular. Lou has been that guy for a while now. So now moving into the top 3, at number 3, I went with Ollie. So Ollie, since his slight rework, has just been such a good brawler, like S tier in the meta, because he's a tank that can dash across the map, that can jump on top of brawlers really easily. He can just change the game so frequently. He has to be one of the best. So as the 2nd best mythic brawler in the game, we have Jae Young. So he's the newest brawler to be released out of the mythics, and he's definitely worth it. I think for the majority of the player base, they will misunderstand Jae Young. Maybe I need to make a guide to play Jae Young myself, because he's just so versatile. The fact that he can just spam unlimited buffs is just so broken in pro play, in gem grab, hot zone, Brawl. He's just such a good support brawler. Now moving into the best mythic brawler in the game, zero debates here, it has to be Lumi. Even with her nerfs, she just continues to dominate. You can spam out attacks like crazy and just deal insane damage. A broken gadget and the slow stop power on top of that, it's just really hard to even get close to a Lumi. She's completely busted still. So now we're going to be ranking the legendary brawlers. Starting off at number 12, it is Meg. So Meg has just been terrible for a long time. Some pros are starting to play a little bit more Meg, but I just don't understand it. She's just such an easy kill all of the time. Number 11, I went with Crow. So since the heist rework, it's pretty much killed him in the heist meta. The hypercharge is just not that good outside of that. Crow mains will try and defend their case, but he's just not good anymore. Number 10, I went with Surge. So Surge in pro play is not good anymore. His fall off needs to be studied. He's not even good in Brawl into multiple tanks anymore. He gets ran down way too easily. His hypercharge isn't as good as it used to be. He's just fallen off. Next on number 9, we have Sandy. So Sandy's in this weird period where I just see nobody talk about Sandy. Maybe underrated, or just maybe just not that good anymore. But still, Sandy is really good against the majority of the player base. He's just not good at the pro level anymore. Number 8, I went with Spike. So I'm actually starting to play Spike a little bit more in ranked, just because he's a great counter to some of the lane options, whether it be Brawl or specifically in heist, because he's still good with popping pincushion on hot potato. I mean, there's a few use cases for him, but not many. And number 7, I went with Cordelia. So Cordelia is just in a weird spot where he's just okay into some things, but he's mainly used to just hyper counter certain brawlers, you know, like Primo and Brawl, Kit and Daryl in knockout. So he'll always be relevant for that reason. And number 6, I went with it Draco, and this is literally because of how good he is in hot zone. You pair Draco with any type of healer or support brawler, then he'll be able to just make such a big difference in that particular matchup. Outside of that, I don't really see too much Draco, so he's just average. I'm moving into the 5 best legendary brawlers in the game. At number 5, I went with Leon. So another brawler, another legendary who's just about C tier right now, but he's just pretty versatile. He's just good in a lot of different situations, and most players don't know how to counter Leon sufficiently, so you'll always have a good time playing Leon. He's also really fun. Number 4, I went with Kit. So I'm not seeing Kit as much as I used to a couple of months ago, but Kit is still so annoying in knockout and bounty. You pair Kit with any sort of tank or just any sort of aggression, and unless you have like one absolute insane counter like Cordelius or RT, Kit and the tank are just going to run through everything, and you sometimes see Kit on bridge too far. Now moving into the top 3, starting off at number 3, we have Amber. So since Amber's hypercharge, she's got just a little bit better. I was expecting a lot bigger things from her, but the hypercharge rate just doesn't charge fast enough, but she's really consistent in the meta. She's been a B8 tier brawler since the beginning of time in the meta, so she's not really going anywhere, so I still recommend getting her. Second best legendary brawler in the game easily has to be Chester. His hypercharge is just completely done broken. He's still okay as well before he gets his hypercharge, but as soon as he gets that purple button, he's able just to team wipe with ease. Any brawler on the map, he's able just to completely destroy. So the best legendary brawler in the game right now is Kenji. Zero debates here whatsoever. Since his hypercharge, he's just been broken in the meta. He's so good. Without it, he's still okay because of the gadget, the star power, the shield star power, and the heal gadget, but the hypercharge itself is just completely broken. You just win every single matchup no matter what. There's no counterplay to it whatsoever, and for that reason, Kenji's one of the best brawlers in the game and definitely the best legendary in the game right now. So that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Let me know if I made any mistakes in the rankings in the comment section. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.